Okay, so for those of you who still believe it's not over and your intuition is still telling you that and you have believed that all along, if you are ready to dive back into that with me, let's go. And as I said in my last video, we're doing radical accountability from here on out. What you hear and interpret is your responsibility. And if you want to go on this journey with me, you are free to. If not, there's the door, bitch. So I did a previous video, was it yesterday, where I said, hey, what did I get wrong? I felt it was only right for me, as I've done. Gia just said that, look what I got right. I wanted to come back and say, hey, here's where I got it wrong. So now is the time to unpack that from the mindset that I do believe the only thing that was wrong was the timing. If you want to go along on this journey, here we go. If you don't, once again, there's the door, radical responsibility. I'm going to tell you all of my methods for receiving intuitive information so that you're behind the curtain with me and you know how I got to where we are. I am a psychic medium. I'm a trance channel. I'm a healer. I have all the clair gifts, clairaudience, clairvoyance, all of them. If you want a little behind the scenes on how I work specifically, I wrote about it in my book. I think that's backwards. Messages from the Stars. It's at the link in bio. So in my video the other day, I said, every time I have asked using various methods, I have gotten the same answer, and I can't account for that. But here's what I will say. The only method I used that gave me a concrete, he will not be putting his hand on the thing and taking the oath, the only tool I used that said that was a pendulum. Okay, let me back up. So these are the various methods I used. Number one, I read energies, and that is both the energies of people and the energies of trends, events happening. I do use all the clairs to read those energies. And you guys have heard me say repeatedly, I am not a predictive psychic, but based on the reading of the energies, this is what I'm getting. I have also, as a medium, I have tuned into spirits, spirit guides, collective energies and information. I have also had visitations from various deities. I haven't talked about that publicly, except when I did the video about the jackal and the connection to Anubis. But I have connected to various deities, entities, energies, guides, etc., and asked and received information through the various clairs. Visions, hearing, feeling, downloads, all the things. I have also had prophetic dreams, and I've stated in, again, previous videos, how I feel the difference between my regular human processing dreams and the ones that are spiritual in nature. So I've received stuff through dreams. I have also channeled various information where I go in trance, I connect to various energies, people, consciousnesses, and received messages. I've done that in circle, which many of you attended. You can still download the replay. It's at the link in bio. And I have done that on my own privately and in circle with others. And every single one of these methods, instances, experiences have all communicated that the end result is Lotus is POTUS. And in one instance where I specifically spontaneously trance channeled. Do you remember that story in November? When it was it November, December? I was driving and suddenly I was talking to a friend and suddenly it was like, no, this message wants to come through, and I started channeling it. That specifically said, we have promised you a glorious election outcome, and the process by which we are going to descend into our depths before that happens will provide this slingshot energy. I was told specifically, we will have that outcome. But the only method that said that outcome will come before what happened on Monday was the pendulum. I am not knocking pendulum usage. I am being transparent about how I received the information that I shared with you. Now, how I use pendulums for me personally is that the pendulum is like my little buddy, my little backup tool to get me out of my head and connecting with something other than myself. And pretty much everyone who uses pendulums or dowsing rods, they will tell you this is not 100%, and they'll give their various reasons why. I'm not going to speak for everybody because I don't know. I love pendulum videos. I love people who use pendulums. I love the dowsing rod lady. I love Mimi. We good. I'm just telling you, when I said, yeah, I keep getting that he's not going to do the thing, that was the one method that gave me he's not going to do the thing by that day. Everything else was just the outcome will be this. And that's why I did say in earlier videos, even if he does the thing, he puts his hand up and does and says, you know, doing the thing, that's not going to be the final result. I did say that throughout. But I also said it's not, whatever. I muddied the waters, okay? And that is why. because I did get that message from the pendulum. So I kind of, gassed up. But here's the thing. It was not an out there conclusion to draw as a human. It was not outside of the realm of possibility that if we're all getting the message, Lotus is POTUS, then of course we would assume it would happen before that day. That is a reasonable conclusion to come from. So I'm done complaining about the fact that the day came and this happened. I'm done with it because Spirit told me in various ways that's the final outcome. And Spirit has told so many of you out in 4 a.m. Club land the same thing. So I understand those of you who don't want to believe anymore. I understand that, and I honor you in your process. Thank you for being true to your intuition. You do you, boo, and I love you for that. Me personally, I am choosing to continue to believe that the only thing that I got wrong was believing it would happen before that day. I'm going to say thinking it would happen before that day. I am choosing to trust my intuition, my guidance, what I've received through all this various means. Not only that, but as I have said, the man got up on stage and admitted it. So again, I'm going to say my human logical brain, I'm not going to blame it for believing this ain't the end. That this will not stand, this will not be the final result. Now, over the past couple days, I've seen a lot of people have theories as to what's going on, why that didn't happen, maybe things changed at the last second, maybe blah, blah, blah. I haven't gotten any information from Spirit that would speak to any of those possibilities, not additional information this week. I put Spirit in the timeout chair for a minute. They need to think about what they've done. Not really. So you use your discernment and you fill into why you think it didn't happen yet. I will say, however, that I have said in various videos that this is bigger than what's happening here. This is a worldwide incident, and it has to do with that big snowy country that we've been talking about. All right, then, zooming out of the specifics of that political event and happening, my guidance all along. Remember how I said yesterday that I went back and I reviewed all my videos. I was actually so inspired and got chills by the full woo stuff that I was talking about. Seeing what's happening now is actually verification of things that I had spoken of all along. The FAFO. Is this not FAFO on a much bigger scale? Is this not that moment when I said, we have shot the moon and we are going to get much more than the Madam President. We are going to get the end result, the ultimate unification of people who have seen the lies, seen the damage done by the red team, by certain leaders of that team, and will finally wake up and want peace and want something different. I have also largely spoken of the divine feminine rising. Do you feel those chills? We are the divine feminine rising. There is a witch hunt out right now for us. Why do you think that is? Maybe it's because we're stepping into our power. And maybe it's because we're not under their spell anymore. And maybe it's because we are binding together in our communities and choosing to go forward. Hey, and guess what else? Maybe that's why they tried to kick us off TikTok. And maybe that's why people are scared to keep posting on here because we're being censored, whatever. They're trying to disperse us because we were right. I know it doesn't look like we were right on that score, but when we zoom out and when we look at the bigger picture, when we look about Ascension, when we look about players on the world scale, we were not wrong. Oh, and by the way, we were not wrong about the grift because he fucking admitted it. And so, for all these reasons, probably more, but we're at 9 minutes here. For all these reasons, I'm not backing down. I'm not changing my stance. I am choosing to believe. Now, as I said in my previous video, I'm not going to keep focusing on this one event solely. I'm going to keep zooming out and talking about Ascension and the rise of the feminine and the new earth and all of that stuff. So I'm going to be looking at that stuff, and you can choose to interpret how what I bring through is a reflection of what's going on personally and collectively here in the States and elsewhere. It ain't over, baby. That's what I believe. And for those of you who believe it with me, we ride.